Right now, AABJ's In Contact Election 2024. There's no doubt this November there will be a battle on the ballot between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump.
But that's not stopping Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from going after Trump in a historic indictment out of Georgia.
Plus, some major renovations impacting travel in and out of the city of Atlanta from the world's busiest airport.
And she has many titles. We're hearing from an Atlanta journalist who has now written her very first children's book. AABJ's In Contact starts now.
Be informed, you gotta know what's going on in our community. So together we can make a change, you and me. Be in contact.
Welcome to In Contact, the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists award-winning broadcast. Thanks so much for joining us for our very first episode of 2024. I'm Tyrik Wynn.
And I'm Kennedy Benjamin. We have lots of news you could use around Metro Atlanta. But first, all eyes have been on Georgia and will continue to be up until November's general election day. Not only is Georgia a battleground state for a rematch between President Biden and former President Trump, there's still some unfinished business from their 2020 matchup. The Georgia election interference case out of Fulton County from that year involving Trump weighs on. And according to the Associated Press, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who was leading that case, was facing disqualification. CNN reports her now former special prosecutor Nathan Wade recently stepped aside from the Trump case after the judge called for him to do so over his romantic relationship with DA Willis. Meanwhile, attorneys for Donald Trump and other defendants in the case are working to get DA Willis removed from that case. This all as Trump and Biden both continue to hit the campaign trail in an effort to be president once again. You can find upcoming Georgia election dates online at www.vote411.org.
A warning for parents. Right now, measles cases are on the rise. Now the Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as the CDC, are sounding the alarm. CBS News reports over a dozen states have reported major outbreaks of the highly contagious virus this year so far. That includes Georgia. The CDC is urging you and your family to get vaccinated against the virus. Well, it covers our vehicles and it also makes us sneeze. We're talking about pollen. Research is showing pollen levels are on the rise. According to Fox 5, recently here in Metro Atlanta, we had a pollen count of over 8,000, which is the third highest pollen count we've ever seen. These high pollen levels are triggering people's allergies, and health officials are advising you to wear a mask and keep your windows closed to minimize your pollen exposure.
I could sneeze right now just thinking about pollen.
I know, it's crazy.
It is very crazy, but I will say that back in 2020 when we had the pandemic, wearing my mask definitely did help. So I've tried that again and I feel like I'm surviving right now.
I'm not really an allergy person, but I got a white car and I don't like my car looking all dirty.
Well, I would rather have a dirty car than needing to take Benadryl, Zyrtec, Allegra, all of those things. So I think you can go to the car wash and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, as if it isn't hectic enough, travel to and from the world's busiest airport could now become more of a hassle. MARTA has temporarily closed its airport station. There are some renovations being done to the concourse and platform levels. And there's a way around it. MARTA service will continue to and from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport via a bus shuttle between the College Park station and the North Terminal lower level. That's downstairs from the North baggage claim across from that. This goes on through May 19th. And also closed for renovations, the historic birth home of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. right here in Atlanta. Since November of last year, tours at that landmark on Auburn Avenue have been suspended. The National Park Service says an extensive rehabilitation project will have the museum closed until November of 2025.
The president and general manager of a longtime black-run Atlanta newspaper has died. James Washington was at the helm of the Atlanta Voice, according to the paper. Washington passed away surrounded by family and loved ones on April 2nd. Mr. Washington was a 2019 National Association of Black Journalists Legacy winner. He died at the age of 73. Still ahead on AABJ's In Contact, we're recapping some amazing events that have taken place right here in Atlanta. AABJ celebrated Women's History Month with a panel discussion with some pretty phenomenal women.
And we're hearing from a journalist who has written her very first children's book. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to In Contact. This broadcast is an opportunity for all.
That's right. And now we're going to check in with our colleagues, Wade Cook and Timisha Collins. Hey guys, what are you working on?
Thanks, Tyrik and Kenney. We're joining you guys with some things buzzing on the internet and in the streets of Metro Atlanta.
First, a documentary about a legendary Atlanta event that came out last month. Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told, was released on Hulu. The film took a deep dive into the creation, significance, and evolution of the iconic event. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Freaknik transformed from being a manageable picnic for local HBCU students who couldn't travel during spring break to a momentous spring break location for HBCU students across the country. Atlanta legend Jermaine Dupri was one of many producers on the documentary. He says Freaknik elevated the music and culture of Atlanta during the late 80s and 90s. This is something I've honestly never heard about.
Seriously?
Yep, seriously.
Well, being born in the 80s, I was a preteen during the 90s, and I heard of it but didn't quite know of it. But watching the documentary and listening to the music definitely did bring back a lot of memories.
Awesome.
We also want to give you a recap of the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists celebration of women last month. March marked Women's History Month, and the AABJ hosted an all-black female panel. This event was held at the WSB TV studios. AABJ's treasurer, India Rice, moderated the panel of media trailblazers, which included Janelle Davis from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Ann Hill Bond of Capital B News, Laura Downey and Jatika Hudson from the Georgia chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, and Rose Scott of WABE. The ladies all shared personal stories on navigating the workplace, answered questions from the audience, and discussed what it truly means to be successful in the media industry while still showing up as your authentic self. You don't have to miss any of AABJ's events. Here's a list of our meeting dates for the remainder of the year. We meet at WSB TV studios every second Saturday of each month. You can find these details on Facebook. Just search the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists.
A few more events we're looking ahead to. The African American Mayors Conference is in Atlanta this year.
That's happening April 24th through April 27th. And you now have until May 24th to check out a cool exhibit at a local HBCU. Spelman College's Museum of Fine Arts is home to a new display highlighting the works of Black women textile artists. The exhibit is free and open to the public Wednesday through Saturday from noon until 5 p.m. through May 24th.
One last event, the World Natural Hair, Health, and Beauty Show, a celebration of Black beauty, culture, and lifestyle. The show takes place on Saturday, April 27th and Sunday, April 28th at the Georgia International Convention Center. More than 300 exhibitors showcasing top beauty brands, health products, art, fashion, and more. We take pride in keeping you in the loop of things happening across the metro.
That's all we have for now, but we'll have a longer list next episode. Tyrik, Kennedy, back to you.
Very helpful information. Thank you so much, Wade and Timisha.
We have more opportunities ahead.
But next, we're going to check out some of the best rooftops in Atlanta. Plus, more of our colleagues, Kristi, Gillis, and Vivian Gilbert, will join us for an interview with the CEO of the Atlanta-based Tupelo Rose Candle Boutique.
And Yaya and the Sea, a new children's book launched right here in Metro Atlanta. The journalist/author opens up about her motivation behind the publication. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to keep this show going.
That's right. Let's check in with our colleagues, Vivian Gilbert and Kristi Gillis.
They're shining a light on a Metro Atlanta Black business owner whose product has been meaningful to the African American culture.
Hi there, I'm Vivian Gilbert here with my co-host Kristi Gillis, and we have a special guest with us today.
That's right, we're joined by Shonda Walls, the CEO of Tupelo Rose Candle Boutique. Shonda, thanks so much for stopping by and bringing in some of your products.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here today with you ladies. I'm excited to share everything about Tupelo Rose.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into it. It smells great in here. Tell us, what was some of the motivation behind your creations?
Well, actually, I started the candle company 4 years ago, so this is my fourth year in the business of the product company. But I started the company because I wanted to put everything I love into a jar. So our candles pay homage to exceptional African Americans, ranging from music, history, art, literature, almost everything that I love. I'm also a singer, and I'm passionate about faith, love, life, art, and so everything that I love, I try to put into a scented candle. But right now we're also expanding, and so we make handcrafted perfumes as well as car oil diffusers as well.
And what does your candles represent? I know that the theme of them often represent successful Black faces.
Yeah, so when I first started the company, I wanted to pay homage to people who have inspired me. So I started the line paying homage to Lady Day, Billie Holiday. I'm literally obsessed with her. Sorry, but Bob Marley, I'm also obsessed with him. But then music has been such a big part of my life. So I started with music, but also it began to, I wanted to encourage people with the candle messages. So the mantras on our candles are what make them really special. So I used to be a candle collector, and just any candle would do. I also started reading and researching how unhealthy some of the commercial candles could be. And so I also wanted to make a healthier candle. So in doing that, I decided to say, well, if I'm going to make a candle, it needs to mean something. So once our candles are, you have burned the candles, you can use the candles and recycle the jars, because the label design is so aesthetically pleasing. You can use it in your office, on your bedroom. You can recycle it for pencil holders, makeup holders, because you want to keep it as a piece of art. So it's kind of grown from just me putting my heart into it to now it's just become like something that I have created to be like more of a brand. And so Tupelo Rose is now more home goods as well. So.
All right. Now, being an entrepreneur is nothing new to you. As you started your fitness company called the Bella Fitness Group. Now, many like you, including many other entrepreneurs, when COVID hit, you had to shift. So tell me, if the pandemic never happened, would Tupelo Rose even exist today?
I think so, because I think that everything is destiny, and I think that when God sets something in our paths, we're going to get there. And so I was able to manifest this through, I think, God's vision for my life. So the pandemic was that force that kind of drove it forward a little bit sooner, because I was a little hesitant to start a second business. So the pandemic allowed me to slow down a little bit and say, hey, let me put some energy over here. It had been brewing in my soul a little bit. And so I just, one day my son said, hey, well, what are you waiting for? Why don't you just do it? And so that was the jump start. I'd been studying and just researching. My background is in biology, so I kind of have a brain to learn how things work. And so I did that. So the pandemic was just kind of like a moment in time to say, okay, the fitness thing, it's still going. I still have Bella Fitness Group, but I was able to really breathe new life into something new. And so it really serves, I think it helps my soul and my energy and my peace to be able to use my hands and to kind of give something to people tangibly, as well as with Bella, I help people from a mind, body, and soul approach to wellness and optimal health. But this is something that I can say, well, also this helps in a number of ways as well, similar to what I do with Bella.
And how does your business benefit the community that you stand for and cater to and represent?
Well, I think that when people come to visit us, we do local markets, so you can basically kind of find us at Atlantic Station. We're there most weekends. But what I've found is that when I meet people in the community, when they come to my booth at the markets, they love the mantras. It's something that I've said or written or created on the candles speak to their soul. So it's about coming and smelling a candle, but you might fall in love with the scent, but really I want you to fall in love with an emotion or someone that has touched your heart. So Dr. King, we also pay homage to Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass. I mean, we have a line that pays homage to just extraordinary human beings. And so I think that's what sets our candles apart. It's just that if I'm passionate about it, Frida Kahlo, recently I just became enamored with her. Just just everything that she's contributed to art. So we have a candle that pays homage to her. So when people see that, they're just kind of like, wow, I love this one, I love that candle, but I love how they all smell. So I want it to smell good. I want it to be healthier for your environment, but I also want it to really speak to your heart.
That sounds great. That sounds really great. Tell us a little bit about the workshops and the parties that you host for your candles.
Oh, I'm really, really excited about that. That has been new for 2024. So we're just starting to do the candle workshops and the candle parties. So you can hire us to come to your home, or you can come to where we are facilitating our candle parties. And basically you get to make your own candle. And so it's called Candles and Cocktails. So, or Candles and Mocktails, just depending on the age group. But yeah, I'll teach you how to make candles, and it's really affordable, and it's also really fun. So you can do it privately, or you can just join us where we are, and you can check our website for that information.
And where would you like your business to be in the next year?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. In just 4 years, by the way, I'm also in 8 museums across the country, African American museums. You can find our candles at the Atlanta History Center here in Atlanta locally. But I would love to be in every museum, every art gallery, every national park gift shop in the country. So,
oh, wow.
I don't know if that's a big goal, but we're working towards it. So we just added 4 new ones this year. So I'm really wanting to do more wholesale, and I want to reach more people on a global level with the candles and with the message.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you to Ms. Chandra Walls, the CEO of Tupelo Rose Candle Boutique, for joining us today.
Tyrik and Kennedy, back to you.
And we still have more ahead on In Contact. What started as a journal entry has now become a children's book.
And a vibe from up above have a list of spots that you might want to hang out at during the warm months.
Once a writer, always a writer. We're talking about an Atlanta area journalist who has now written her very first children's book.
It's titled Yaya and the Sea, and the author and illustrator, 2 creative Black women. Karen Good and Marable wrote the story, and Tanya Engel painted the images. The story is about Yaya, a little girl who joins her mom and her mom's good friends on an early morning trip to the sea. This trip to the seas was a sisterhood ritual to kick off the start of spring, and Yaya got to experience it with them for the first time.
So when I was going back uptown on the train, I wrote the story in my journal, Yaya's eyes. And because I was just like, I wonder what she was thinking and feeling.
Karen Marable is on tour right now with Yaya and the Sea, and as you can see, the tour started right here in the Atlanta area and ends here at the beginning of May.
And finally, as temperatures warm up here in Atlanta, food lovers are looking for the best spots to dine outdoors. Eater Atlanta has named the 5 best rooftop bars and restaurants across the city. They are the Chairs Upstairs Bar and Restaurant in East Point, Palo Santo in West Midtown, Rooftop LOA on Howell Mill, Oku on Howell Mill, and Draw Bar.
Those are some good spots right there. Well, that does it for this episode of In Contact. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
And a special thanks to our partners at AIB Network for helping to make this broadcast possible.
Make sure y'all stay connected with AABJ on Facebook, Instagram. Just search Atlanta Association of Black Journalists.
We'll see you back here next time.